working bugs out on them.
Okay, it's 6:30. At this time, I'd like to call the Administrative Services Committee meeting for November 2nd, 2020. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino.
Here.
Counselor McCreary.
Here.
Counselor Hill.
Here.
Counselor Plunkett.
Here.
Counselor Burge.
Here. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the October 19th, 2020 committee meeting. Councilor Burge, Councilor Plunkett.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes. Is there any old business to attend to? Seeing none. Item number 1, under authorization, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests authorization to enter into a short-term lease agreement with City BOCES to utilize the 3rd floor of the Conway Building for the New Visions program. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. The 3rd floor of the Conway Building is recently vacated, and so we have open space. Somehow City BOCES heard about this open space, so they reached out. This was back a couple of months ago, and because of COVID and social distancing, they're trying to put their New Visions classes in different areas. So a lot of their students are in St. Joe's, which is right next door, and they asked if they could put about 30 kids in on the 3rd floor of the Conway Building, and the kids there are actually the law enforcement and healthcare students anyway, so it's obviously within walking distance to Oswego Hospital, which is a plus. So we have a good relationship with City BOCES. As you know, a couple of years ago, we teamed up with them that some of their students take down some homes in the city. So we're continuing that relationship by letting them use some space that we have right now. And the proposal as it exists now is that this will be a temporary solution. It will go through June, and we'll reevaluate where we are.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the mayor on this particular item? Just wanted to clear up one thing. This is at zero cost, correct?
Correct.
All right. Anybody else? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor McCreary.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
And I'd like to ask who will be preparing this resolution.
Mayor?
Law.
Law Department.
Thank you.
Item number 2. Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests authorization to expand the existing lease agreement with the State of New York Unified Court System to include a section of the 3rd floor of the Conway Building. Mr. Mayor?
Somehow the court system heard that we had space on the 3rd floor of the Conway Building. Currently, the court is on the 2nd floor, so there was a predetermined need, I guess, that they needed some more space for locker rooms and a sergeant's office. So once they heard about this, they approached me shortly after I spoke with City BOCES. So we determined how much space City BOCES thought they needed, determined how much space the court system thought they needed, and we're going to try to make both work at the same time. So the court space, they're really just looking for one conference room, the 2 bathrooms, and 1 small office, and then separate is the 2 rooms that City BOCES needs. So we're going to try to work both at the same time. I included some of the specifics in the packet that the court will be using in the reason why we did it. So, and again, no additional cost than what the court system already pays on the 2nd floor.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the mayor on this particular item? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Plunkett, Councilor Hill.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burge.
Yes.
And again, I would like to ask who is preparing this resolution.
The law department will do this one.
Thank you.
Item number 3. Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests authorization to institute a mini grant program providing grants to small businesses in the city of Oswego related to the tree lighting event and proposed waterfront or storefront enhancements for the holiday season. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. This is funded from some event funding that we have left over. Obviously, we couldn't have the events that we budgeted for in 2020, so we'll take some of the remaining money that we haven't used and won't use, and put together this little mini grant program. Basically, we're going to roll out this program if the council approves, that businesses across the city can apply for a $100 grant for Christmas decorations. This is just a small incentive. Businesses are already struggling with reduced business because of COVID. So if we can have these mini grant programs, hopefully we can incentivize these small businesses, particularly downtown, to decorate their storefront and help build up the holiday spirit during this kind of weird time that we're all going through. So trying to show some community pride, make downtown and the city still festive during the holidays, and also later this month we'll be rolling out a decoration contest for both businesses and homeowners, where similar to the chalk walk we did earlier in the year, we'll do the same concept with decorations for both homes and businesses, so businesses can use this small piece of funding to help boost their efforts there as well. So a nice gesture, and we'll be putting together an application. Anybody can apply, not just downtown businesses. We'll get those applications graded and hopefully turn them $100 around quickly. So hope that your support.
Any questions from the council? Councilor?
15 grants?
Yeah, well, we have about $1,500 that we're putting out there. So there'd be 15 $100 grants. We'll see how that goes first. If there's high demand, we may be able to come back for a little more funding, but we'll test out 15 grants and see how that goes.
First come, first served too?
Basically going to be first come, first served, again, depending on how many. So we're going to have an application process. The more detailed the applicants can be, the more competitive their application will be. And then we'll try to get as soon as we approve the application, notify them and get the funding out for you.
Thanks, Mark.
Anybody else? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Plunkett, Councilor McBeard.
Counselor Corodino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Item number 4, the engineering department requests approval of change order number 13 for the contract with Marcellus Construction Company Incorporated for the combined sewer separation, third 25%, PFC project number C76344-19-08 in the amount of $0 for additional work. Mr. Hindeler?
Good evening, councilors. So these change orders, the project is winding down. We're starting just to close out and the unforeseen things we hit and kind of punch list items. These change orders, these extra work orders, are related to kind of a final push to get to the paving. And so on this one, you'll see that we have a shared private sewer that runs between 3rd and 4th north of Senate Street. And it's a private sewer. The city doesn't maintain it, but its condition at times is questionable. And so what we decided to do before there's a problem and before we paved these streets was to preemptively install laterals at houses that we tested to make sure where they were going. And if they're on that private sewer, we provided a lateral in the grass for them for a future repair should something happen. So you'll see some work orders in there for that. And then also at Senate Street, we had a spot that we had to go in and do a point repair. So there's some cost here to repave a portion that we had paved before. And this, if you'll notice, this total change order is $18,406.99. We try to keep them under a certain threshold so that they don't have to go through a rebidding process essentially. And so the next change order, if I can just take a few seconds by looking at that one. Again, this one was a little bit larger because when we milled out 3rd, half the block ended up being garbage. It was just something that you walk down and you could feel it was almost like walking on a water bed. And you face the choice, what do? Do you put lipstick on the pig and just cover it up, or do you fix it right? And so in this case, we went ahead and I authorized the order to do an undercut and stabilize that part of the street and try to fix it as best we could with the resources we had available. So you'll see one of those in the second change order. The total amount is $40,369.81. $30,000 plus of that is to rebuild that half of the street. So that's where you see a large ticket item on there, but the rest is then to do some minor repairs and then also to install another couple of laterals and pipes.
All right, very good. Any questions for the city engineer from the council? Obviously, we knew that being the oldest part of the city, we were going to run into some issues. And it sounds like you're doing a good job of taking care of this.
All in all, when you consider the scope of the project and everything that we found, we missed 2 laterals in the entire job. We had to reconstruct only half a block in the entire job. We're pretty fortunate the way that this part of the project worked out.
And according to this change order, which we haven't got to, actually, if we approve this, there's just under $300,000 left to contingency. So certainly the estimates were done pretty good. You haven't even used all the contingency amounts.
Yeah, the project you'll be seeing soon, we're about to issue substantial completion, which we're basically saying we're done. There's a few minor items that they have to finish. Probably gonna come back in the spring to do some grass establishment, things like that. But when we do that, we also settle the ledger. And looking at the preliminary numbers, GHD did a good job in their estimating and did a good job managing it. And proud to say the project went well, and we're glad that part's over.
Yes. Anybody else have any comments, concerns? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor McCreary, Councilor Hill.
Counselor Corodino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Item number 5, the engineering department requests approval of change order number 14 for the contract with Marcellus Construction Company Incorporated for the combined sewer separation, third 25%, EFC project number C7-6344-19-08, in the amount of $0 for additional work. And as our city engineer already outlined, the cost for this is $40,369.81. Is there any comments or concerns about this one, since it's similar to the previous one? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Burridge, Councilor Plunkett.
Counselor Corodino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Item number 6, the Fire Chief Randall B. Griffin requests authorization for the City Chamberlain to complete an intra-departmental transfer of funds from multiple accounts to cover miscellaneous purchases.
Council, this is regarding moving funds, department-issued funds, reallocating those funds, redistributing them to comply with city purchasing policies to allow us to purchase things that were unforeseen back in May of last year when we did this budget. So one of the biggest ticket items is a thermal imaging camera. We did buy one this year, however, we had another one break. The screen broke inside, so this will allow us to buy this in 2020 funds without waiting until 2021.
All right, very good. Any questions for the chief? I know I spoke with our city chamberlain, and she told me that she did review these. She wasn't coming tonight, but she did review these, and she said she approved these transfers. Everything was done according to county principles, I guess. Any other comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor McCreary.
Counselor Corodino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Item number 7. Yeah, scroll here. Chief Philip Cady of the Silver City Police Department is requesting authorization for the city chamberlain to complete intra-departmental transfer of funds for a total of $4,670 with the cost of equipment for outfitting a new fleet vehicle. Chief?
Yep, so our police vehicle that was purchased this budget year showed up 2 months earlier than it was supposed to. It wasn't supposed to be here until mid to late December, so it gives us an opportunity to set it up now, and that's why I requested to transfer the funds.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the chief? While we've got him in the hot seat here? Once again, I did talk to City Chamberlain, and she did look the transfer over, and she gave it her stamp of approval. So we got her approval, should be no problem getting our approval. Any other questions? Comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Counselor Brereton, Counselor Plunkett.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Item number 8, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests an executive session to discuss proposed, pending, or current litigation. And at this point, I would ask for a motion for this committee to go into recess, and we'll go into executive session. Counselor Hill, Counselor Burridge.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
We're all here, right? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to come out of recess. Counselor Hill, Counselor McCreary.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McCreary.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Plunkett.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Is there any other unused or unknown business in this committee? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn? Counselor Hill, Counselor Burridge.